What's up, Vibers? This week in SUPERVIVE is busy, and I like it. Now that we're about a full month into the 1.0 launch, we've seen several big patches and hotfixes come through from Theorycraft, directly targeting player concerns and feedback. For the most part, these changes have actually been very well received by the community, and I think if we can keep heading in this direction, it's going to look much better for the future of SUPERVIVE. Along with these adjustments to the game and balance, we've seen the introduction of 3 new hunters hitting the breach within this first month. A very kind of aggressive timeline set out for Theorycraft with the launch here, with Wukong, Tetra, and Mercury gaining popularity and kind of finding their roles within the cast. Sticking to the 2-week patch cadence, we can expect another significant patch hitting next week, and possibly our 4th new hunter that was teased in the Mercury trailer hitting the breach just another 2 weeks after that, closer to a month out from now. That's assuming they're still sticking to their like 1 hunter a month kind of plan, so we'll see where the actual timing on that ends up playing out. Now that we've had a little bit of time for the dust to settle with the huge system changes over the Armory, we're finally seeing a return of community-hosted tournaments and events hitting the scene, which is really cool. This was kicked off this weekend by none other than Mad Magical, who hosted the Mercury Multiverse Tournament, a hunter-themed event that was really cool, based around the newest hunter Mercury, where every team has to pick Mercury over a 6-game series with Mercury kills counting as triple points. This was a for-fun tournament with skill ranges across the board, but ended up generating some amazing SUPERVIVE to watch, and Magical actually turned this into a global event to help support the SUPERVIVE community in other regions. So he ran a 6-game tournament for APAC in the middle of the night, then he ran a 6-game tournament for EU in the morning, then he ran a 6-game tournament for North America in the afternoon. You can catch the VOD of the North America edition on this channel, and he will be posting the VODs for APAC and EU, as well as his POV for the North America version on his channel as well. And big shout out to Samiri, Ilario, and Frosty, and anyone else I'm forgetting that helped Magical run those events. Alongside this, we saw several Legend Rank scrims hosted in both the North America and European regions, covered by me on this channel for North America and covered by Samiri with guest appearances from Mad Magical in Europe. Now, looking forward to the coming weekend, we have an extremely exciting series of tournaments lined up, kind of our first slew of SUPERVIVE events hitting since the 1.0 launch. And I always just love to see the passion from this community to sort of self-organize these things. So first, we have the climactic conclusion of Moonlit Battlegrounds Training Grounds. This is a multi-week event that's been running basically since the 1.0 launch, and it is designed to introduce new and aspiring Supervivors to the competitive scene. So this event began with a series of introductory scrims where player skill levels were tested and then they were split into teams. And then top SUPERVIVE players have actually volunteered their time to coach these teams in order to help them master the game and level up their skills in competitive play. And these teams have been running scrims against each other now 3 times per week for the last several weeks, putting all this learning into action. And now we get to witness the sort of culmination of all this effort so far put forward by these players and coaches, culminating in the final week of Training Grounds, where we have qualifiers happening tonight, actually in an hour from now. I'm going to try to get this video up before, but it might be after, we'll see. And then Friday the 29th, the qualifiers continue, also at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And then Saturday, we have the finals, and those are going to kick off at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So this is going to be a very exciting ending to a bunch of different storylines kind of happening across the different teams and players in these training grounds, as well as a very exciting beginning, actually, for a lot of these players who will be looking to transition their newfound skills into more competitive SUPERVIVE. So hopefully be seeing some of these players showing up in Legend Rank scrims not too long after these training grounds conclude. All of this, by the way, is being organized and hosted by Luna Super Warrior, the owner of Moonlit Battlegrounds. Huge shout out to Luna. I think this is probably like one of the most useful, cool, helpful events for the community in general to really just like bring the SUPERVIVE community together. It's really cool to see these coaches, like experienced SUPERVIVE players, committing all this, you know, free time to help these newer players kind of learn and grow. It's just been really cool to even witness. So, and if you don't know Moonlit Battlegrounds yet, they're basically the very first SUPERVIVE esports org. So you can catch all this tournament coverage live on their stream. That's going to be at Moonlit, twitch.tv/Moonlit Battlegrounds, and I'll have that linked as well. And if you can't make it live, I'm sure he will also be posting his VODs to the Moonlit Battlegrounds YouTube channel, which they've actually been starting to put some really cool content on as well related to this stuff. Okay, so alongside this, we have several other tournaments happening as well. Sprokane, who is one of our main tournament organizers in the open beta, is hosting his first 1.0 tournament for the European region this coming Saturday. So this is going to be an 8-game series following standard SUPERVIVE tournament rules, with multiple phases of hunter bans coming into play after games 3 and 6. This will feature some of the top talent in Europe and is guaranteed to be super competitive. So if you're looking for some high-level SUPERVIVE to watch, this one is going to be for you. Sprokane, as a top player himself, will be playing in his own tournament as he does, so you can catch his player POV on his stream. There are likely going to be a lot of other players streaming their own POV as well, but there will be a spectator view caster coverage, likely provided by Samiri at SynthDMB on Twitch. And if it's not going to be him, it will be someone else that I will link in the description, but very likely, maybe even with a guest appearance from Mad Magical. So going to be really dope casting as well on that. So this one is taking place Saturday, August 30th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time start time. And finally, speaking of high-level SUPERVIVE, we also get to witness our first competitive NA tournament hosted by Dylan, FPS, and Jang over at UTEC. And this one is actually going to be a really cool format, very unique. So it's going to be a 6-game set. Before the start, there will be team captains that will draft pick their teams out of the kind of pool of players. Then those teams will play 3 games together. Then at the halfway mark, there's a redraft. So after 3 games, we're going to get a whole mix-up of all new teams going into the back half of the tournament. And throughout the course of this tournament, points are gathered individually based on the team performance over the course of the 6 games. And usually they do something like winners for captains and winners for players. And we've seen a couple SUPERVIVE tournaments at this point play out with this format, and it always ends up being really fun and resulting in just some like really high quality SUPERVIVE to watch, because you get to see a lot of these top players mixing their talent together with teammates they don't normally run with. And then they're also trying to sort of aggressively accumulate points, knowing that they're going to be on a completely different team in the back half of the tournament. So really lends itself to like aggressive, yes, the SUPERVIVE, but for players that are kind of at this caliber of skill, it really ends up being just a spectacle to watch. So this one is going to be Sunday, August 31st at 5:30 PST. And Dylan is actually playing in the tournament as well, so he'll be streaming his POV, but I believe I will be actually helping cover this from a spectator and casting POV. So if you want to catch it live, it should be on my channel as well. That's Zikrik with a 0. And there might even be more going on, so if I missed anything, I will try to add that to the comments as well. And everything we've talked about so far will be linked both in the description and in the pinned comment. But these are the main things I know about that are happening in the North America and European regions over the next week. So I hope this video was useful to you and that you're now able to tune into the SUPERVIVE events that you're looking for. With that, I just want to thank you so much for watching, remind you to take care of yourself and keep vibing. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.